All right, everybody, welcome again to another edition of the Steel and Glory podcast. I'm your host, Nate McBride. Woo! And today, with us, we have the one, the only, Michael Keller! All right, that's enough of that. So, anyway, Michael, it's wonderful that you could come onto the podcast and discuss the KellerGauntlets. I don't get around much. I'm on the West Coast, and I think it was Try Hard Hema.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a thing, and I saw those gauntlets, those beautiful, beautiful gauntlets, and I thought, I gotta get this guy on. We gotta talk about these gauntlets. So, everybody, big welcome, Michael Keller. Say hello.
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh man, I'm like I said, I'm super excited to have you on.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's pretty exciting
Awesome
stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a chance to okay. How about introduce yourself, tell us, the audience, a little bit about who you are, your background, what you do, what you've been up to, that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. So, hi, I'm Michael Keller. I'm out of Wichita, Kansas. I've been doing Hema for a hot minute now, since, 2019? And been doing sword stuff in general since 2014. Started with SCA after going to a Ren Fair. Wife dragged me to it when we were first dating and thought, oh, this stuff's pretty cool. But yeah, just been loving it ever since. Been making my own armor and gear for ever since I started. I was in a Japanese household for SCA doing plastic Japanese armor, and yeah, first kind of learned how to do the process way back then. And yeah, it's come a long way. I've made a lot of gauntlets, and probably thrown away more plastic than I care to admit. Just trial and error and paper patterns and stuff. But yeah, now here we are. I've got this whole line of gauntlets that I'm making. I guess you probably want to see some of it.
I do. That's beautiful.
I'm kind of hiding it underneath.
Look at that.
Yeah. A little
That
bit
is
of,
cool.
I don't know if many people's been able to tell, but I do have Japanese influence in terms of the lacing pattern.
I did notice that.
Yeah. So instead of rivets, we're using nylon laces that give a lot more flexibility and aren't going to bust out the plastic like a lot of rivets do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because I was wondering about that. I thought, first of all, it looks really pretty, but second of all, I was thinking that, like,
Yeah.
like the tension is in the line instead of the outside of the rivet. So for sure, that's what happens. Super cool. So let's see the thumb. There's the hard casing, but then it's and then
So it just
but
kind
then
of,
it's got a little. What is that like? Just like a braided.
it's just a braided nylon cord. It's all weaved.
That's
weaved in
beautiful
and out so
looking.
that the thumb could slip in. That way, if you get into a deep thumb grip, and something kind of starts to slip out and go wrong. Let's see if I kind of pull this up. It still has some give, still has some forgiveness to it. Which, of course, you'd wear gloves with these.
Yeah.
Like you want to have some kind of, I wear like workman's gloves, or I wear, what brand is that? These Coach's fencing gloves, typically I wear with them.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's a little more puncture resistant, because, there's always going to be some level of minor gap with any gauntlet.
Yeah. Man, those just look so awesome. I just got to say it. Those are super cool.
Well, thank you.
And I like the thumb articulation, like on the metacarpal area.
Yep.
It's one of my favorite features of Gothic armor.
Yeah, typically this would be stitched to the glove down here, but I wanted it to have changeable gloves on the inside. Just kind of let the fluting and layering of the gauntlet take the brunt of the impact.
Yeah, that is mean looking. That is super cool. Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a long process to get to this point.
Yeah, no, tell me more about that, because off camera we were talking about your almost maniacal pursuit of customization. And well, anyway, just explain that a little bit more of your thinking on that.
Yeah, so every hand is really complicated and different. I have so many different percentages and size difference and variation with everybody's hands. Your wrist to your knuckle to your second knuckle to your fingertips. Everybody's is like slightly different. And even doing some calculations today, I go, oh, this person's second knuckle to their fingertip is longer than mine, but their first knuckle to here is shorter, and some hands are wider, some hands are longer. And it's a really, like, I really see why a lot of companies struggle with making hand protection in terms of just like, if it's something specific like Pro Gauntlet, there's so many moving parts. It's so much more complicated than any other piece of gear that I can possibly think of. I made a new pair of shin knee armor in like a day and a half. And a lot of these gauntlets, it takes multiple days just to get one done. And it's just so much configuration, so much kind of little moving parts. And I don't want to just kind of put something out on the shelf that's a generic size. If it's something that's as form-fitted as Gothic gauntlets, there's many different little pieces to the gauntlets that if they're even a little bit off, it kind of really does make a big difference. So.
Yeah, there's so many articulated parts there, and it's that's super impressive. But Pro Gauntlets, they look so cool. And first they were pretty expensive. And so I was like, do I want to afford that? Does it really offer that much more flexibility than what I need? And then I started hearing reports of, well, they're good, but they're finicky. You got to repair them a lot. The parts break. And, anyway, the whole rigmarole with that. And I thought, okay, yeah. To me, it seemed overly complicated the way that it was put together. But when I see yours, the way that yours work, it just didn't have that same sort of look and feel to it. Like, this is so overly complicated. What if it fails? Like, you could see yours are a lot more elegant in its simplicity, I think. But it looks still, I mean, there's more plates, but it just seems simple, I suppose.
Yeah. No,
an elegant approach.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of simplifying down to where the base structure of something is hardy enough to take a beating. And a lot of the gauntlets that I see now, even I have a pair of Gabriels that I wore for a few rounds of practice fencing. And I went, nah, I'm good. Because, of course, I'm used to mine.
Right.
But
which says something, because I went to a tournament yesterday at Seize the Vor, and I was looking around. 9 out of 10 of everyone had the Gabriel gauntlets, I myself included. Yep. And I do like them, but there are issues that I do have with them. And so it speaks volumes that you're like, yeah, okay, but mine are better.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason why that makes sense is I'm trying to remember what we discussed on and off camera, but we didn't. I don't think the audience heard this. You've literally you've been making gauntlets for 10 years,
Yes.
and you got your start in SCA. And the
Yeah.
difference between SCA and their gear is they beat on it relentlessly, and they demand that the gear holds up year in, year out. And that's
Hmm.
kind of just their mindset. Whereas
Yeah.
the HEMA mindset is more, okay, well, I bought this thing, it broke, I'm moving on and I'm getting another thing.
Yeah. 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 SCA is a lot more. If you're using plastic in SCA, depending on the community, you're kind of, I wouldn't say looked down on, but they kind of demand standards to a certain degree. If you come out wearing plastic gauntlets and like plastic breastplate stuff, people are probably gonna, ooh, there's so and so that's not wearing a steel breastplate with some kind of tabard and some, like, it doesn't look authentic. You're kind of jarring the dream in a sense.
Mm.
And I just went with the whole Japanese thing of wearing essentially barrel plastic and trying to make it look cool, and then finding out, oh, this is what type of plastic plastic is. It's this polyethylene plastic that's, you start to hyper fixate and obsess over. Like, my brain does weird things. I find out the properties between polyethylene versus like what is it, Kydex or ABS, and
Yeah.
doing test runs and finding out this one can mold better, this one holds the shape better, this one distributes force better. And then seeing, like, I see that, I see a lot of times people coming out with gauntlets, and the moment I pick them up, I go, ABS, like, don't fight with that out in the cold because it'll crack with one hit. Or I give it a year of heavy abuse and your fingers are going to break, your finger pieces are going to break. And that's kind of cool with people messaging me like, what if this piece breaks? What if something breaks? So will you fix it for me? And I go, well, yes, because I'm confident it won't break because I don't have them anymore. But I had a gauntlet that I made out of this material that I used for probably about 6 years in SCA while I was not very good at blocking my hands. So I would take big weapons to the fingers repeatedly, have like big tape marks skidded across them, and go, yeah, they're fine. I probably need to change out the lacing because it's like 6 years of my sweat going into the lacing. So, but the plastic is totally reusable, and I've drilled into the sides of it where you go like, oh, if that took a hit, it would break. No, this stuff does pretty good. I'm really confident that besides getting scuffed up, it's not going to break unless you take a saw to it or like actually attempt to break it. I'm pretty solidly confident that nothing on it will actually break. And I see that in all these other gauntlets that I get. When I first got a pair of Spez Heavies when I joined Hema, I didn't have a pair. I borrowed a pair, used it, and went, can I use mine from SCA? And I go, well, if you use some gloves that you're pretty confident you won't get stabbed with, and okay, I'll go grab them. And I used them for my first couple of years doing Hema.
Hmm.
And they're ugly, but they let me grip the sword. They let me do everything except the thumb grip. I didn't really make it with a thumb grip in mind back in the day. But all this new information of how to fence now, I feel kind of learning how to use a sword and how to be competent, and then also knowing how to make armor gives me some kind of unique perspective of like, oh, I want this little bit taken off of the gauntlet so that I can hold it in this specific grip. And like little things like that I'm sure in history smiths conversed with the knights, and knights would, yeah, I need like an inch taken off right here, or I need this very minor thing. But me myself, I can go out and test them, go, oh, I want to change this little thing. And it's an ever evolving process. I swear every gauntlet I make is better than the last in some minor way. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, totally legit story.
Yeah.
That is cool. And you're a guy who is used to like working with your hands and like, with SCA, it's almost like you kind of have to. I mean, there's the guys who most people come to, but if you want to, it's like a tinkering culture. And beyond
Yeah.
that, professionally, you also like you figure things out.
Hmm. Yep. Very. I blame the neurodivergence in me. Just I get my mind set on something, and then all of a sudden I'm on Pinterest every free hour of the day for weeks. I'm like, I like that gothic. I like this specific piece of this gothic gauntlet, but I don't like that gothic gauntlet. So I'm going to take that small piece and put it on here. And it's sometimes I hate it, but
Yeah, no, I get it. It's I don't know what is it about Hema, the sword community, even SCA. It's like, what is it about ADHD people that like to join? But we do, and here we
yeah.
are. It's like our tribe.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. So you have two main types, right? You've got the heavy for longsword, and then okay, so here's where I got really excited
Uh-huh.
because there's lots of longsword gloves out there. I think
Right.
yours legit are the most beautiful, and yeah, they're super cool. But the thing that really excites me, I got the saber in the back here. I am a
Right.
I joined Hema for longsword. I
Mhm.
fell in love with Saber. It is
Yeah.
my jam. I love Saber.
Right.
And I was never happy with the gloves that were out there for Saber. It's like, okay, either I use a fencing glove or a motorcycle glove or like a rapier glove, or I use an overdone glove that doesn't give me, like, I'm protected, but maybe a little too much, but
Yeah.
not in the right spots. Because
Yeah.
I've got a bell guard, I've got, my hand is, and
Mhm.
and I thought to myself, so like during COVID era, and I don't have it here. I should have had it here. I actually made my own glove. I took like a lumberjack working glove that was
Oh.
like this.
Uh-huh.
It was like this, and then underneath, I made it oversized. I got an oversized one, and then I put some leather in there, and on the
Mhm.
leather, I kind of I riveted on like on the outside like plastic. So I had heavy leather and plastic, and it was
Mhm.
really nice. But it was, I mean, you could tell it's like
Yeah.
it wasn't. It's a good glove, but I failed at the attempt, and it's not duplicatable.
Yeah.
And they're like put together with Chicago screws and all that, and sometimes you
Mhm.
lose them, and yada yada yada.
Yep.
So I saw what you did. Can you explain? Can you explain that? You can see how excited I am.
Yeah, of course. So, funny thing, the whole Gothic thing started with the Saber Gauntlet
Oh,
because I have a buddy in Kansas City. No, he's in Joplin. Yeah, he's with Josh Dale, False Edge Hema. He's
yeah.
with his school. A
Mm,
buddy named Titus, and we'd go to Joplin. He'd come to Wichita. I think came to Wichita more than we went to Joplin. Kind of feel bad about it, but he was going into school for some kind of surgery science, like he's getting into surgery medical field, and their school is saber saber saber, and they love their saber. And I got to talking with him after practicing one day about like, oh, can we maybe try to make something that's going to protect my fingertips, because he showed me his, I think it was his pinky that got a hairline fracture because Josh blasted it with a wrap shot.
yeah.
And he's like, I'm going into surgery and I need, I need my hands. A little glimpse of it. And so I just kind of went, well, let me get to the shop. I'm gonna start experimenting with some stuff. I kind of want to start messing around with gothic stuff now anyway, because I had a herniated disc in my back in
Mm,
2023, and I was out of fencing, fighting, everything for about half a year. And when I came back, I'm like, I can't really do the SCA stuff, the wearing the heavy helmet and wearing armor and running around and stuff. My herniated disc kind of, it would start to, the pain of it would start to flare up because I had a surgery for it. and I'd tried it out a few times the year after, and every time I put on that helmet, I'd kind of, yep, there's that sciatic pain. It's still there. I don't want to risk this. So it's like, I'll just go pretty much totally into Hema. I'll try to have take my different hobbies and consolidate them into one hobby and try and just specify everything with that. And so I went, I don't have to make anything really historically accurate anymore. I can just make fun stuff. I can make things that kind of look like, maybe it's from Skyrim, maybe it's from some fantasy world, Lord of the Rings, and I don't have to worry about is that 15th century so and so from this place, and I could just kind of have fun with it and make something unique. Of course, kind of went historically accurate anyway, but I think kind of the freedom to do whatever I wanted was nice. So yeah, I made the Saber glove, the Saber gauntlet, which was the start. And as you can see, it's doesn't have any finger protection there. You'd wear a glove with it. But this was kind of the talk with Titus is I want something that will protect those.
Yes.
Yeah. So any hits coming in here, nothing. So
yeah,
there's been talk of maybe some plates that go over this, but everybody's Saber guard is a little different, and
yeah,
I feel like I can't really make anything that's going to let you move the guard about and be fully protected without it just being a finger glove. But that's what I was wanting with the talk with Titus, is something that this is not a target. It's no longer something that's going to happen in tournament where you go back and go, I don't know if that just broke my finger or not.
That's always it. It's on the inside. Like the outside is like, okay, that's all right. But it's the inside part, right?
Yeah.
That's usually, I find it's like, oh, what just happened to me?
Yeah. So yeah, it's an ever evolving thing. I'm talking with people about potentially making an inner plate for this too, something that might articulate a bit, because the people I've made it for so far, that's all exposed. And some people put something there. Some people say they don't even need it because they have a padded jacket and there's not really any, there's a lot of meat before you get to the bones right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all things that are in the works, and it's an ever evolving process. But
that is cool.
Kind of what I was hoping that Josh and David Miller would kind of get going, as the whole Saber community, and then I'd go, I can just make a whole bunch of Saber clubs. That'd be
I have got to get to you guys, because our club is like half of us are Sabrewers. We need a road trip, man.
Yeah. We all need to meet up sometime.
Yeah, man. That'd just be awesome. Yeah, well, immediately I thought, okay, well, maybe not hard plate, maybe stitch in some thick leather that's kind of protective. And, so if you're wearing a fencing glove, fencing glove is nice, but they're kind of thin. But even if you had just I don't know, just kind of leather, and then that way it sort of bends in there. Whatever. It's just an idea. I'm sure someone's already mentioned something like that.
I mean, typically with the fencing jacket and then this on top of that, anything that hits there, I go, if it's not a Polish Saber, I'm not concerned at all. But
yeah, well, I meant with the fingers.
Time, some people have preferences, and the main thing was I don't want broken fingers. And I see a lot of people wearing real thin gloves for Saber that terrify me, and I go, I could totally make a market out of this.
Yeah, because you trust in your dexterity as a Sabrewer, right? It's like that's what you practice. It's like, I'm quick. I got this. Till the wrap shot comes, and it's always the wrap shots for me. I'm like, ooh, and I check my inside. I'm like, I'm okay so far. But I scroll a mouse for my job. I 3D CAD stuff. So I kind of need it.
That's a sensitive spot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can you show that again?
What's that?
Yeah.
Let me see. Trying to catch the light in it a bit.
Yeah.
I got it flaring out where it covers the fingertips, and then my pinky sits right about behind that.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
That still, it was kind of a process of I made it, and then I would mark on it and take a piece off or like cut a piece off and go, yeah, I have better mobility now, but now it's a little exposed, so I'd have to put a piece back, and there's a lot of obsession and trying to work on something that works just right.
Yeah.
Has nice mobility.
And the nice thing about it being plastic is, I mean, if someone's brave enough, they can just get a Dremel drill or something and just kind of, mark a little thing. Or, I'm in the dental lab industry, so we're used to like fire. Just heat it up a little bit, bend it just a little, because everyone's a little different. Yep. But maybe don't do that on this part because that'll screw up everything.
Yeah. This is all heat gun work.
Oh wow.
So there's no 3D printing, there's no molds, anything like that. All of this is done with my fingers.
By hand.
Yeah, by hand.
That makes it all the more impressive.
Took a long time to learn how to get it to get right to the right melting point. Not melting point, but right before that melting point where I could bend it and set a round pommel under each of these to get them to kind of flare down right.
And no ugly bubbles.
Yeah. That's
always my problem is overheating it at the point where you're working it.
Yep.
I hate that.
Yeah. I take big risks with certain spots that need pumped out a little bit more, but
yeah.
I could always make another piece if I mess up, which happens frequently. I have a whole trash just pieces that I bend, I shape, and then I go, yep, it's off. Trash. Next one.
Nice. Yeah.
I can't do like subpar. I need it to be as close to perfect as I feel comfortable having it.
Yeah, that is super cool. So, it seems like it's catching on now. It seems like we got a whole shelf full of gauntlets and you're full of orders. Like, what's your backlog look like?
Well, that's a good question. it's right now I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of a dozen orders I'm working on.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of have it on a slight hold of like, let me get at least 1 to 2 rolling before I take on some more commissions.
Yeah.
It's because each one takes a decent amount of time, mostly just for the sizing aspect of it. If I could just produce small, medium, large, extra large, 2X, 3X for guys like me, it'd be real easy, but like I said, they wouldn't fit quite like a fitted gauntlet.
Not like that.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because, I mean, you said, all right, it fits, well, the glove that you use, so you basically recommend an instructor's fencing glove, right? Yeah. That works probably the best.
Yeah.
Gosh, where was I going from? Oh, yeah, just the thin profile. It looks like you couldn't fit a glove in there, but you can.
Yeah.
And there it is. I mean, it's that form-fitted looking. It's so cool.
Yeah. And it makes you kind of look muscular. Or veiny or whatever you want to call that. I get called Dark Lord and stuff like that all the time wearing these. So we got Nazgul gauntlets or Daedric gauntlets.
Yeah, that is super dope. Yeah. So you just encourage people to to just check back in with you, or do you have like a waiting list? Like, here's the official waiting list, or
there's an official waiting list. It's
okay
in a notebook I have over here somewhere, and on my wife helps me run the social media pages, and she's got a list of everybody in order, and she sends me the measurements as soon as they come in the email. And I'm just kind of a goblin out here working on my little projects.
Yeah, man, that's dedication. That is dedication. And I tell you, that is so rare, but it is very rewarding. Like, it's like the old school style. 'Cause now, as things are more I don't know what you call it, scalable or duplicatable or whatever. That's
Yeah,
the
I
one
know
thing
what
that always falls by the wayside, right? But it's nice, especially for things like this, to have that customizable human touch. It's
Mhm.
so cool and so premium and
Yep.
super posh that you do that for actually at a really decent price point, especially what we're looking at here. I mean, you're doing all these
Mhm.
by hand, you're fitting
Yep.
them out, and
Yep.
yeah, so it's like it's 200 a hand, is that right?
Yeah.
Thereabouts.
200 for the Saber gauntlet, and then
Mm.
for the full gauntlets, it's 425. Which I
Okay.
struggled for so long on settling on a price
Yeah.
because nobody could agree on what I should sell them for.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I had people tell me like these, I would pay $800 for these. I go, that's a lot,
Well,
but
maybe they
thank you.
would.
Yeah, yeah. I need to have it at a point where people will actually buy it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? And I see that as totally fair. I really do.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Well, for one, the handwork, and just like I said before, the customizability of it, the
Hmm.
fact that you're standing behind it, and but also the robustness to it,
Yeah.
and just the confluence of all those things coming together, it it
Hmm.
it really matters.
Yeah.
Um, and your time is worth something. So it seems so reasonable to me, for something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if that would fit into a broadsword. I probably wouldn't need that for a broadsword. You probably need less plates for the
Probably. Yeah.
broadsword. Like I'm
Maybe
looking
I'll make
for.
something. Yeah, maybe I'll make some that are just like from here back, so you can fit it in
Yeah,
the basket. And
because
yeah, I
that's
hope.
what you care about is the top of the thumb right here,
Yep,
and just your wrist,
yep,
just your wrist part. And but you
yeah,
still want that flexibility, and of course you want it as mega light as you can because the swords are flipping heavy, holding it
yep,
up. You know.
yeah. And
Um,
I'm totally also down to make more customized stuff for people. I've made for some people I've made just from here down,
mm,
and then just like yeah, let me figure some math real quick and find out how much that would be, and it's yeah, I'll do that for cheaper than a full gauntlet because it's not a full gauntlet, and
yeah.
so I work with people. I try to make people happy because I want more dark lords out there learning stuff.
Yes, Dark Lords. Yeah, that is super duper. Now is there an email where people can contact you to get on that waiting list?
Yeah, it's the KellerGauntlets at gmail.com, all one word.
Cool.
You can
And
find it on Facebook. I think we got it on Instagram now.
oh, nice. Okay, good.
And yeah, probably need to set up a website at some point just to make the whole process easier.
Yeah,
But
eventually you'll want to. And
yeah,
then we'll put that in the description in our video too, just you know, as a way for more outreach and whatnot. For whatever that's worth, but yeah, we'll
yeah,
we'll do that for sure. And
awesome.
yeah, that is super cool. That is super cool. Uh
Thank you.
Michael, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we close up?
Just no, nothing particular. Just keep fighting, keep getting Saber popular so I could sell more Saber gauntlets. Those ones are easier to make than the full gauntlets, so I can make four of those in the time I make one full gauntlet.
Yeah, there you
So I
go.
want to sell the Saber gauntlets. I was
Well, let
hoping
me
they'd take
put
off.
yeah. Well, let me push Saber. Let me do my part as like
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
great because I could just extol the virtues of Saber.
yes,
Well, for one, you need less gear,
yeah,
typically for Saber, and
hmm,
sabers are beautiful. They're elegant, and the footwork is simpler. The learning curve to get good at Saber is easy. It's an easy learning curve, and
yeah.
it's a very passionate thing. And all the heartbreakers are Sabrewers. So if that matters to you, pick up a saber, find someone who knows how to do it, and yeah, and they can definitely teach you. It's so has such flair and panache, and the uniforms are always the best.
Yeah.
So
Well,
anyway, if you're into that, uh,
yeah,
Come join
That-
the elegant side, the splendid side, right?
I
Oh, and
know
the
when
manuals are
this,
easier to read too because they're in English. At least
yeah,
the British
yeah.
Mill ones are. So
I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but Sword Strong, first place for Saber, is going to be a pair of my Saber gauntlets. Sword Strong, Kansas City. So
when?
that's this weekend. So
Oh, okay,
probably
this
already going
weekend.
to pass. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it.
Yeah. Yep. Late notice.
But yeah, go ahead.
But, oh, just late notice. There'll be
Yeah.
more tournaments in the future.
Cool. All right. I definitely, yeah, I need more road trips in my life. I'm
Yeah.
I'm of the age where I deserve some road trips
Come,
to do
come
that.
win one of my gauntlets.
Yeah, well, I probably wouldn't win anyway, but I would still go and it would be
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
duper fun. And then I
I'll
could
have a
like
booth.
get my hands on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have a
Yeah.
booth with some of the stock items I try to keep on hand, and then I'll do like measurements for people there if they don't feel comfortable doing it themselves.
Mm. Ooh, see, now that's
Yeah.
cool.
So
Nice.
I'll be at tournaments here and there, mostly in the
Yeah.
Midwest.
Very cool. Yeah.
All
Awesome.
right.
I'm always terrible at closing things. So I'm just gonna do it. So yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, Michael Keller. So again, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time, coming on and sharing with us your amazing Keller gauntlets. I
Of course.
am definitely covetous. I'm covetous. And I gotta get on the list. So I'm gonna put my name on
Yeah.
that list.
Awesome. I'll look forward to it.
One last thing. So like time frame, it's a couple months or something before you get yours, or what's the?
Yeah. I guess it would depend on the waiting list. I'm working full time, trying to
Mm,
do Hema and make gauntlets. Like there's lots of times where I might be going to a tournament instead of working on gauntlets that weekend, or it's a holiday or such.
fair.
It's kind of a hit or miss on time frame, but
Mm.
everybody that's on the waiting list, I try to keep them informed. Like, hey, you're next up, or yours is coming along.
That's
I just
cool.
finished one last night, and
Nice.
so yeah.
Nice. So he communicates, guys. He communicates
Yes.
with you on when you're getting your order. I know, and it's just one of those things in this community. It really is a niche. I call it a sport. Forgive me if that offends you guys. So it's a niche sport. It's a niche hobby. It's a niche
Yep.
activity.
Yep.
Culture. So
Yep. Most
we're
nerds.
kind of used to waiting for the best things. That's just how we roll. It's how it is.
Yep.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Again, Michael, thank you for coming on. And
Of course.
yeah, we're
Thank you
just
for
gonna.
having me.
You are quite welcome, sir. We'll talk again. I hope.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
All right. Woo.
One last look.
Yes. Drool right here.
Yep.
All right. All right. I'm ending it.
All right.
Ciao.
Take care.